Awesome. And I can see that all you guys, I think did send in some questions. So why don't we, look, Sandra, you were first one in the room. So we'll go with you. And what I'll do is, and for all of you, if you don't know this already, if you want to send through questions, I like to share them on the screen so we can all see the questions. If that doesn't work for you, just let me know. You know, some people are a bit self-conscious or for whatever reason they don't want me to, then that's totally fine. So Jackie, I've got yours in there as well. Sandra, where were yours? Here we go. Okay, so I had a bit of clarification first, Sandra. So you sent this through. You said you've recorded a pizza class. Would it sell on demand? How can I do that? So just to be clear, when you say recorded a pizza class, you mean you've created a new tour. Like you've had an idea. You've got a friend who has a pizzeria. You've thought, hey, what a great idea for a new experience. I'm going to get this. I'm going to start running this new hands-on interactive sort of pizza making experience. Is that what you mean by recorded a pizza class?
Yeah, well, I am focusing more on the one in person, the tours to be done, obviously live, and have tour guides doing for me.
Okay.
So, but with the pizza one, that is done once a week. My only thing with that is because I want to make them into experiences. And so somebody comes in, they do the pizza in the morning, it's lunchtime, they can eat it. My other question is, would the pizza class like that alone sell, or should I attach like a tour afterwards so they can eat the pizza off? You know what I mean? And do something else.
Maybe. And this is not something that you need to take lightly.
Okay.
There's a process. Okay, so I'm trying to think of the best way. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Next week, I'm dropping a new lesson into the business performance area of the program, okay? And I'm going to teach you guys about something that I called my simple launch method. So anytime, look, I'm just going to share. Am I sharing my screen still? I am, aren't I? Okay, so here we go. So this is something that I'm going to create. So you don't need to take notes, and I'm going to be dropping a lesson on this. Over the journey in business, I didn't know it at the time, but I created a system, and I've recently called it something because it sounds cooler to call something, give something a name. But this is the way that I did things, and so I'll show that in a second. But to give you some context, so you guys would know I had a business that was called Melbourne Private Tours. I ran private, high-end luxury private tours, interactive, exclusive. Went towards the back end of my time in business, I'd turned my business into what was called MPT Travel and Lifestyle Group. I wanted like a travel corporation with a whole bunch of different cool stuff going on underneath it. I had my private tours. I had my corporate events division of the business, which looked like that. I got to a point where I was doing like 400,000 a year in annual revenue. I had MPT Worldwide Journeys, which I did a lot of some trips to Southern Africa and some culinary adventures to Spain, outbound. And because, well, I'll tell you why in a second. And then I had another division called Travel Representation, which was quite lucrative. And it came from people asking me to represent them in the Australian market. And I got some good clients paying good retainers, but the work sucked. And we wound it down. It was really successful, but we wound it down because no one actually wanted to do the work, because in essence, what I was giving myself was like 5 or 6 more bosses. And who wants that when you're running your own business? So we wound that down. But the reason I'm telling you this is that anything that we did, and that goes for all of like the private tours, that's where am I looking here? If I was to show you this, for example, and I was to go to my, where am I? Tour descriptions, marketing, that would be under. So sample tour descriptions. Everything that I ever did in business. So let's say, for example, I wanted to change my tours to something that was unique, immersive, exclusive, et cetera, et cetera. I'm rushing through this, so we've got a lot of ground to cover. I created this really unique range of private tours, and they all started with one thing. They started with a hunch and like an idea. Okay, so I would generally, myself or someone working in my business, would have an idea. Okay. So the problem a lot of people have is that they think they've got this great idea, this hunch for a new market to tackle, a new product, a new experience, a new division of the business, something new that's going to generate revenue. And they think, because they think it's a great idea, their customers will think it's a great idea as well. And really, in many respects, what you think is kind of irrelevant, or how you think something should look. It's because if you're not your ideal customer, and so a lot of us aren't our ideal customer, then you're asking that what you think is not really that relevant. It's what your ideal customer, the customer avatar that you have built out, what they actually think. So I've always been a drive forward kind of a guy. I don't like to get bogged down. I like to get things out into the world. I've got this idea. I think it's great. I just want to start selling it, and that's, I don't like it to get bogged down in research and all that. Some people like to, just bury themselves in spreadsheets, and I have people in my business that were like that. And then I found them annoying and frustrating, but they kind of offset me and balance me out, So anyway, what I would do is this. So it starts with an idea. Okay, you got an idea. Hey, I got this great idea for a new tour or a new blah, 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 blah. So then you need to really think about who your ideal customer is. Okay. And I'm not going to talk a lot about this. In the local market recovery training, there is a lesson that you guys have, and I'm just going to find that here. Where am I? No. Yeah, is that it there? Local, yeah, okay, right. So here, choosing a local market segment. How to create a custom avatar for your chosen local market segment, or for your new tour, or for whatever. So that would be really relevant, really useful. So what you need to do is understand who your customer is. And it can be from historical data about people you've served in the past, or it could be a new type of customer. And you need to get really deep on who they are, what their desires are, that need satiating, the problems they're trying to find a solution for, what they've done in the past, where they digest their media, the social media platforms they use, blah, 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 blah. So a lot, and this may sound like a deep, in-depth process. It doesn't need to be. It can happen in a space of a week if you really bury yourself in it and apply yourself to it. You can build out a really clear customer avatar. And when you're launching something, that's awesome to know that. And even so much as you give them a name and you give them a photograph and you write a little profile, you'll see that in that local market recovery lesson. So that's going to be immensely helpful before it takes shape. So that's the next step. Then there's the research phase. Again, in local market recovery, we talk a lot about that. I'm going to talk about that phase in this lesson that I'm going to record for you as well. So you've got to ask some really thought-provoking questions about to make sure that your idea's got legs. Okay, that you actually have a real desire that you're satiating. People really want this stuff, and you can ask some great questions to get almost certain, or get a very strong level of certainty that is the case. Okay, from that point, you've got to get some of your chosen customer, your ideal customer, through the experience in a pre-launch run. Okay, get them in it, show them how it's done, what you've got in store for them, be really clear on the feedback that you want from them. And so you get people to test run the experience. Okay. So at that point, you're like, okay, wow, this is taking shape. I've got a customer in mind. I understand what they want. I've taken people through it and got feedback from them that I've implemented. So I've taken it another step further. Then I go to the minimum viable product launch. And that, as an example, that is like the absolute bare minimum to get a commitment from people. Because people saying, hey, that's great, I'd love to do that, is one thing. People actually pulling their credit card out and saying, take my money, that's a whole different thing, okay? So getting to the point when that could be like a sales page, it could be a booking form, it could be a deposit. If let's say you're launching a new, you run private tours and you want to launch a team building corporate experience, okay? And you've gone through all these steps, and then you get to the minimum viable product launch. That could look something like, okay, decision maker A, B, C, and D. Well, I've got the experience to this point. I might have even had you test it out, or you might have talked to me about it. I'm launching based on all of this feedback. I've created this amazing experience. I launch in a month. I'm giving people the opportunity now for incentive A, B, and C to book it. For uptake, they can use that experience. They'll take that experience anytime in the next 6 months. But now is the time to commit and book. And the reason that I'm going to incentivize you for doing that by reason A, B, and C. So like, okay, great. Of course, it's a discount or a little extra feature or bells and whistles, whatever it is, to actually pull the credit card and say, yeah, I'll book that for my team for the time you launch, and I'll take that 25% discount, whatever it is. So you get people to commit, and then where am I on that one? Okay, so the thing with a minimum viable product launch is, let's say you want to get 30 people to pay a deposit because you're launching this new experience, and you get 2. And you're like, well, doesn't seem like it's got legs. So you would go back to them and say, look, here's your deposit back. Uptake hasn't been on this one as great as we would have liked. So it's back to the drawing board for us to get it, to use insert words, get it great, make it world-class, whatever it is. And that's what you do. But then if it is working out and you are getting people to commit to it, then the beauty of this is that you want to get it out into the world as quickly as possible. So, because it's going to be 0.6, the feedback that you get from your first paying customers, that's going to be the stuff that elevates it to world-class status. That's getting people to, that first wave of feedback, that is what is going to take it, forward more quickly than burying yourself in research, interviewing research, 100, 200 people back down in stage 3. It's going to be a much quicker experience to get people to pay for it, get thick skin, because they might tell you what they love, what you could do better, what didn't quite work, what they've freaking hated. That is going to take you so much further, so much more quickly than just sticking in the research phase. And then the last stage is refinement. You get the feedback, you improve it, and boom, you're off to the races with a world-class product. So I guess the point I'm trying to make, Sandra, is I don't know if it's going to sell well. I think you need to do due diligence and put yourself through a process like this. And you might just take a step back for a month. And then this process doesn't need to take a long time. I think you could realistically run yourself through the simple launch method in a month. If you want to research, 15 people or 20 people that fit your profile as your ideal customer, you could do it in a month.